We have a goose named Boris who has been without a mate pretty much since we've had him. We started off with 2 geese, Morticia and Gomez. And when they started mating in the spring and laying eggs, we decided we would try hatching for the first time. That first year, we ended up with 3 baby goslings. We had Boris, Pancake, and Amelia. It was a cute little flock of 5 geese, and we were just thrilled. And then Amelia died, tragically. A tree fell on her during a storm. And Pancake ended up actually bonding. She ended up bonding with Gomez. He tends to stake his claim on the girls pretty quickly. He, Morticia, and Pancake kind of formed their own little group, and they oftentimes would leave Boris out. Boris got pretty lonely, and he kind of ended up attaching himself to the ducks, specifically to one duck, Luna, who had an injury. He kind of saw himself as her protector. And it was actually really sweet. It would be Boris and the ducks, and then our flock of 3 geese. It was cute up until the next mating season, when Boris would try to mate with the ducks. And that was very bad. That can kill the duck. And so we would do what we could to try to separate Boris. Then he would get super, super stressed. He would pace along the fence line from where the ducks were and find ways to fly over the fence and try to get in with her and to be with the ducks. And yeah, it was a whole mess. It was really bad. So we're like, we have to find a mate for Boris, or we have to get rid of him. And the idea of doing that kind of broke our heart a little bit. We didn't want to do that. So we'll buy 2 female geese. So it's settled. Gomez will probably have his hands full with 3 ladies, and then Boris will bond with one of the girls at least. As it turned out, one of those girls was a boy. So that he was misgendered, I suppose. We wound up with a boy, Emilio, 3 girls, Gomez, and Boris. Pancake died. She got egg bound and she died. And so then we had 3 boys, Boris, Emilio, and Gomez, and 2 girls, Abigail. Hi, Frida. And Morticia. Abigail and Morticia. Hi. Emilio is actually our biggest goose by far. He had no issue kind of putting up a fight a little bit with Gomez. He took Morticia. So they couple swapped. Morticia and Emilio became partners, sort of, but she still bonded with Gomez. Geese, while they do mate for life, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have multiple partners. So Gomez had his lady, and Emilio had his lady, and Boris, again, still had just the ducks, and no one else. We decided then to try hatching our own geese again. We hatched a group of 8 goslings. We sold 5 of them, and then we kept the 3 that we were for sure were girls. Those 3 goslings, those 3 ladies, they formed a bond pretty quickly with the Gomez, Morticia, Abigail, Emilio group. And Boris is still alone. So then we decided we would hatch. There was 1 more egg that we would hatch. This was a girl, and we named her Sister George Michael, after our favorite nun in the Dairy Girls.
Don't be ridiculous, girls.
Sister Michael?
Of course God doesn't hate you.
Thank you, sister.
You're not interesting enough.
I see.
I'd say he'd be ambivalent towards you, at best.
She had to be raised up on her own. We gave her a little stuffed animal to cuddle with because she was really lonely. Geese are very social animals. When she did get bigger, we put her in the run with one of our ducks who had an injury, who had a foot injury. And they actually ended up bonding, and it was really, really cute. So she ended up having a friend. As she got bigger, big enough to actually hang out with the others without fear of her getting bullied too hard, she wound up preferring to hang out with and spend her time with the other ducks. Anytime she would have a kind of altercation or an interaction with the other geese, the Gomez Emilio gang, the girls would pick on her, and even Emilio would pick on her, and to the point where she would get so scared she would just run away. She's hanging out with the ducks. She's hanging out with the same ducks that Boris is hanging out with, that Boris is attached to. Because they're both hanging out with these ducks, they naturally end up hanging out together. They're swimming together, they're eating together, and Boris starts protecting Sister George Michael. Sister George Michael is bonding with Boris. These two are inseparable, completely and totally inseparable. It's actually really cute. We didn't have to really force it. It kind of happened on its own naturally because these two geese were just kind of ostracized by the rest, and they both loved the ducks, and they ended up meeting that way. So now our male to female ratio in our flock of geese it's much more balanced. We've got 3 males and 6 females. So I know that when it comes time to the next mating season, there will be a lot less fighting between the males because they'll have enough females to keep them occupied. That's the story. I'm pretty pleased we didn't have to get rid of Boris. I did not want to do that. He is our smallest gander, so I think that's why he had the hardest time trying to find a mate. But I think it's just really precious that Sister George Michael just really wants to be with him. There's Boris, and there's Sister George Michael sitting. And over here are the rest of the geese. Standing up here is Emilio, who was supposed to be a girl. And then in the middle there is Abigail. And then to the right is Gomez. And then you got the 3 girls. I don't quite remember their names. We named them after the nuns in Sister Act. So the new ladies we have are all named after nuns. I think what's pretty interesting about this whole story is that the geese, like, we could have tried to force bond them and everything, but we don't have the fencing for that to do that very easily. The bonding and the pairing off happened naturally. Like, they kind of paired off in the way that worked best for them, and it works best for us as well. Geese are such fascinating animals, and I love them so much. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. If you want any more story time videos, let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you liked what you see. I'll give a little update in the spring, so a little while from now, about how it's going during mating season, because who knows, maybe everything can just hit the fan. Hope everyone has a wonderful day.